how's your perspective shift after making your own dollar from like your own business?
Dude, I remember like telling you, I was like, fuck, I'm quitting my fucking job. Like literally like I was like, dude, that's like proof of concept. I could do this shit like one time, I could do it like as many times as I can like replicate it. I think like just like being able to close that first one, it gave me like the confidence to say like, okay, I'm learning like something real. And at that point, like everything was like uncertain until I closed that first deal. I was like, okay, shit, like it works.
So what you just saw was a little snippet of the upcoming interview that breaks down exactly what Joseph's experience was like. Somebody who is 23 years old, no prior sales experience or business experience online, and how he was able, within his first 3 weeks, be able to make enough to now want to leave his job, quitting his job, and now going full time as a digital consultant, and how it's changed his life so far.
Let's start off with like how did we find each other? Like how was the first interaction before like we started working together and like what was your thoughts before like we started like the program together?
Yeah. No, honestly, like I think it was like through a obviously it was through an ad. And then you mentioned something about like skills and marketing. And so like my role was a marketing manager. So I was like, okay, like that's kind of like that's kind of like what I was like looking for in terms of like, just like self-growth or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Not really like thinking about doing something on my own, just more so like, okay, like as a marketing manager, maybe if I follow this guy, I'll find like some like whatever like tips.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it was when you reached out to me like on DM.
Yeah.
And like I think I replied to you. Dude, I thought you were a bot. I just wanted to see like what the automation was.
Yeah. Hmm.
No, like you said something and then I said something back. So I thought I wanted to see like what the automation was. But it was like I don't
Yeah.
know, like it was
Yeah.
fucking like yeah,
Yeah,
it was
because
like you
also
actually like
there's plenty of other ads though. You know what I mean? So like what made you like click on my ad specifically or like what was the thing that resonated with you at that point in time?
I think it was just like so you talked about something about skills. So I was like, okay, like oh, I'm somebody that wants to like grow like my skills. So it's like
Hmm.
why not just follow this guy? I didn't even really go through your page. I just remember like I followed you and then that's it. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna save this like for later. But then like you DM'd me, and then that's when I started like kind of like going through like your past content. Dude, I scrolled deep, bro. I
Hmm.
scrolled hella deep all the way to like the bottom just to see like like who you were. And then
Hmm.
I started like you were like posting stuff about like your own growth and kind of like your journey to okay, like you have to have this type of mindset if you want to win.
Yeah.
Like like you talked about something like dude like I'm gonna fucking outwork you, so like you're gonna fucking lose, basically like that. And I'm like, fuck, like it just made me like feel like okay, like I have to like do something about like about myself. But again, up to this point, bro, like it was still like never like oh like I wanted to quit my job,
Yeah.
like do whatever. I was pretty comfortable. I think like that was like the conversation that we had. It's like oh
Yeah.
yeah, bro, like it's cool that like like you're doing your thing, you're a marketing manager, you're making like okay money.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And then we talked about God. And I asked you, I was like, okay, like, well, what about what are like your thoughts about God and making more money? Because it's like, is it again to at a certain level, is it maybe greed, like something like that, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, well, like God created us to what's called to be have uh like multiply or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's a pretty interesting thing. And then you started asking me, okay, like what is it? What is it that you want to do? I was like, I don't know. And then you're just like, okay, but why do you want to like, what are you looking for? I was like, dude, like in my life, I just want to at least match my dad or beat him. You know what I mean? At least like replicate what he did, if
Hmm.
not like beat him because I felt like I've like lived a pretty comfortable life
Yeah.
throughout my
Up until
life.
that
I just want
point.
to do the same thing like for my family.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for context, right? Like, I guess like how long were you working the marketing job and then like like how's your lifestyle been? Because I know that you were telling me that you felt like you're making a good amount of money. Like
yeah,
it's not like you're doing terrible for like being
yeah,
23, right? Like it's not the
yeah.
worst. You know what I mean?
No, like I've only been like a manager like not even a year. Well, like this June or July was supposed to mark a year, but I'm not even getting there because I'm quitting my job. But
Yeah.
like dude, like life was perfect. I came in like fresh grad 2 years ago, and then it was just like more so looking for experience, like just like trying to find something like to learn. Ended up like clicking really well with the CEO, and then like he gave me like a really good position of like, hey. Um, I think you could do like big things in my company. And then he gave me like that role of a marketing manager. So like literally like from the point of view of my friends is like, dude, like that's it. Like Joseph's like he found like whatever like it is that he's gonna do for the like for the rest of his fucking life basically, right? Like for the next like
Hmm.
20 years,
Hmm.
something like that. And so that's why I never really like had a thought of like, oh, I needed to quit my job or like whatever. I was still growing. I was like, again, I was like pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, but going back to kind of like mentioning that of like my purpose of like at least matching what my dad did, if not beating him.
Yeah. Because your
Uh,
dad's pretty successful from like what I
yeah,
remember, like, right?
yeah, he's like super comfortable. And I just remember, bro, I just remember like the exact line that you said. You're like, well, that's cool if you want to like match him, and it seems like you're on track to match him. But if you want to beat him, then you got to play a different game. And I was like, shit, bro. They're like, you're right. You know what I mean? I think that's when it started. Like, okay, like what is it that I can do to build myself to be able to, I don't know, like like do something different, make money, or like just like excel in life or whatever like that. And
Yeah.
then started talking about kind of like how the program could help or like whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like kind of recap, like you kind of stumbled across like the advertisement, you came across like my page, and you didn't really think, or you weren't really even looking for ways to make money online. You were just interested because it was talking about kind of similar to like your situation now, like your marketing, your job, and potentially making more money online, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I was open to the idea of making money online, but it wasn't like something that I was like desperately needing or like
Yeah.
constantly like searching for. It was just more so like, oh, cool. Like this guy was talking about like something about marketing,
Yeah.
skills and making more money if I like improved my skills.
Yeah,
So
I do
why
because
not follow him?
there's a lot of scammers and there's a lot of like different programs out there and like there's a lot of different business models that are pushed. Like, why did you feel comfortable with like wanting to invest or like invest into your own skill set?
I think it was, bro. Like I think it was literally like, our conversation. Like you just seemed like so genuine. Like you were sending me like voice recordings, bro, of like just like I felt like I was like talking to somebody who really wanted to help, which you do want to, want to help, especially like now, like knowing you. But
Hmm.
like, I think like that's what kind of like set it apart. Like the other automations or coaches or whatever like that I've interacted with in the past, like
Hmm.
everything was just like script, 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 and it's like again like just like trying to like move like next 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 where like I think like like with our conversation like you were actually trying to get to know me and like trying to get to know like what
Yeah.
is it I'm trying to do to be
Yeah.
able to help. I think that's what made me like trust you a little bit more. And then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, like why don't we hop on a call? I was like, okay, like I'm open to a call. All right.
Yeah. And then how's like working together been like? I think that's been the most fun part. I think I want to
Yeah.
highlight that, dude, because like I feel like it's cool because I originally wanted to start this program to like have like clients that I felt like I was friends with or like feel like they're friends. You know what I mean? And you've become more of like a friend towards me out of like the people I've worked with from my
Yeah.
last business for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, like how was that experience? Because I didn't think we like I like it was cool because like I didn't think that it would be that much fun. Because for me, it was a lot of fun. Like I'll say it like that. It's been very fun
It
working
was
together
fun.
up
It was
until
fun.
this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Yeah. No, bro, like honestly, like you said, like for me, I think like because like we're around this same kind of like like age range, a lot of the shit that we talked about was just like, all right, bro, like like we were kind of like just like getting hyped for like the next step and the next step and the next step, which is like super exciting, just like, all right, bro, like this is the goal, like we're gonna get there, we're gonna get there, we're gonna get there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like that energy that like you brought like throughout like all of those calls is
Mhm.
really just like what made me confident,
Yeah.
like. I think I talked about you. I talked with this like to you that like for some reason like it was like really like the permission that I needed to be like yo like I could do this. I could do this. I just needed like that validation and like again like when I put myself out there, I could do it. It's like shit,
Yeah.
and
Was
just
that
started.
surprising to you? Because like, dude,
Yeah.
I like again, we did do that in like 3 weeks, right? Like, we crafted your offer in one call, right? It was good that you already had some pre-existing context though, all right? I think like that was pretty important. Like you already kind of knew about the DJ space a little bit, so that kind of helped us like craft that offer like pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's one leg up that you have on like, most other people that I think kind of made the journey a little bit quicker just from what I seen.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, we crafted your offer in one call, and then the next call, I think we optimized your page, and I think after that, how long did it take you to like post your pieces of content? You did it pretty fast.
Yeah, I think like to get to the total amount, we were like a week and a half.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, bro. I remember like, cause even that first like offer to the IG optimization,
Uh-huh.
we were supposed to meet a week out,
Oh
and
yeah,
then,
right,
like,
right, yeah.
and then it was like 3 days, and it was like, oh fuck, you finished it. All right, let's meet like tonight, and then we
Yep.
ended up like sitting down like working on it, and then I think like after I optimized my IG, but I just started posting.
Yeah.
Uh, and
I
yeah,
mean,
like.
it's pretty like easy though, right? Like pretty simple. Like I like at least posting content and like editing the videos. It wasn't anything complicated, right? Like,
So I think like what made it simple was because like I think like you told me like just like not overthink. Like just like do it first and then like if you want to improve on it like we'll improve like later or something like that. That's what made it simple. Because I feel like initially like it was a little bit like challenging just to even picture like what my IG would look like, what type
uh,
of post I would want to what I want to like write about and like all that stuff. That was like a little bit like oh shit like okay like I don't know like like again I'm going from like somebody who like was just like doing my own thing all of a sudden
yeah,
to now like this role and
yeah.
then so like
It's a regular job to building a business. Yeah, it's an
yeah
interesting thing.
so thinking about like oh shit like what to post
Hmm.
uh you're like dude like just fucking post anything. I was like all right like I'll just fucking post it and I think that's like what made it like really fast like once I
Yeah,
posted one okay like I just focus on the next thing
yeah,
post it again and then I just like focus on the next thing
yeah. And then we put
yeah
together your ad. So we crafted your offer. We helped you optimize your page. We started, and then we wrote your ad, right? And then as soon as you wrote your ad, I think that was like when it got super lit. Like we launched your ad, and then like
crazy
break down what happened right after like you launched your advertisement for your offer. Like you're targeting DJs. You made some content about
crazy
how DJs can market themselves, and then we scripted out an ad, and then like break down what happened after
yeah
that.
yeah no you were like oh yeah like it's like how much are you willing to put in I was like I don't know, like $10 maybe like a day. So we started there and you're like, okay, cool, $10. Like you should like your ROA would probably be like, you know, uh $5 like per follow or something like that. I think they were like aiming for like two or one or two like, follows like for like $5 that I was spending.
Yep.
And like I remember like I like posted the ad like late, and then I went to sleep, and then the next morning I woke up, but I like checked my notification. That she was like fucking 20 follows. I was like, oh shit, like for ten
Yeah.
bucks, not even $10, bro. It was like because it was like barely, like a couple
Yeah, I
hours.
didn't even spend yet. But yeah.
Yeah, and it was already at like 20 follows, and then like it just kept on like,
That shit was booming, bro. Like
yeah,
I think you texted me the next day, and like what was it? I think you said, "Oh, dude, I booked like 3 or 4 sales calls."
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah.
what the
Not
fuck?
like straight up, yeah, yeah. Because I literally just like again, um. I really try to not question anything. Like I really just like, okay, like whatever you're telling me. Like this guy's making more money than me. He knows more than me. Like so let me just like not question him and just like do like what he says. And then
Mhm.
so I did that. Like I reached out and then like again it fucking worked. Like three of them were like down to be like, yo, like okay, like let's do it. And
Yeah,
it's like I remember like you were on the road and I was like, bro, I don't know what the fuck to say like during a fucking like sales call. And
yeah.
like you just gave me the script like literally like like on the way. I don't know like where you're heading
Yeah,
to.
it was like I was on the way to OC. It was like an hour-long drive, but that was lit, bro. Yeah. So it kind of broke down like gap selling, and then like dude, I think the other thing too is like I was pretty surprised that you absorbed it like and applied it though, because like you listen, you're like, yeah. And then what was crazy is you had your 3 calls, right? I think it was your last call. Like
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
you had the first 2 calls and you're like, ah, damn, like I
yeah.
didn't close anything. And then it was later that night, right? So like,
That's
okay, you took your yeah, like break that down. Like you took your first few
it was
calls. How was
no,
that?
so I was super hyped, but at that time like I didn't have my Calendly. I didn't have my Calendly like link like set up. So it's
Okay,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't get them like I didn't really book it. Like I just said like oh okay like we're cool on this time. And I know like four people said yes to like those times, right?
Huh?
And then when I set it up and then I like, hey, like by the way, like book it through this link, they kind of like ghosted me. I was like, fuck, bro. Like I kind of like fumbled. I kind of like fumbled like from like somebody like saying yes because like now like maybe the lead's gone like colder or something like that. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So one ended up canceling, and then one again like kind of like showed up, but yeah, like it was my first sales call. Like I did like super ass. And then like another one also like it was just like dude, like it was also ass, right? And then it was about like 5 or 6 ish, like my time,
Hmm.
when like all of a sudden like a lead just like texted me like, yo, dude, like this is like what I'm looking for. And I'm like, okay, bet, like, yo, like, are you free? Like, when are you free? He's like, dude, like, I could run a call like right now. I was like, okay, like, give me like 10, 15 minutes. Like, I'll hop on a call with you. And that's literally like the call that I closed. So it was like literally like I went from like being like on a really like big high of like, bro, like, these ads are popping. Like, I'm getting like these calls booked to like being like super down on Sunday morning because like, dude, like somebody canceled on me. My
Yep.
sales call was like really bad. I couldn't close shit.
Yep.
So like, all
Hmm.
of a sudden, like this guy that was like, oh, like, yo, like I want to hop on a sales call with you. Bro, well, I want to hop on a call with you. And then like closing that deal like that night. And that was just like, bro, that was like I went back up to like another high, bro. Like I was like texting him, bro, let's fucking go. And I think I said like close something, close another one, or like close something. And then you thought it was just like a call booking. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like you scheduled another call? I was like, no, bro, like
Yeah.
like
You sent me the strike screenshot. I was like, what the fuck? Dude,
yeah.
I was hype as fuck for that, bro. That was insane. That was insane, bro. That was insane. So like, how was that feeling for you, bro? Because like, I know, like for me, bro, like it happened like when I think I was like 20, but like, bro, it was like fucking life changing, bro. Like I didn't know, you know.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
was that experience for you? Because that was money that you made outside of a job. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure, for sure. No, I think that was like just like justification. I was like, dude, that's like proof of concept. I could do this shit like one time, I could do it like as many times as I can like replicate it. So it's
Yeah.
like I think like just like being able to close that first one, it gave me like the confidence to say like, okay, I'm learning like something real. Like I'm learning like something that like we talked about in the beginning of like being able to make money and all of this shit. And at that point, like everything was like uncertain until I closed that first deal. I was like, okay, shit, like it works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was just that. And then like literally like the next day, closed another one, right? Like
Yeah. Yep. Hmm.
yeah, on Monday night I closed another one. So it's like that gave me like so much confidence basically to say like, okay, like
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
like that I think that more than anything is like the most important like
Mhm.
belief builder. Like you have to believe that, you can do it. And like when you
Yeah.
do it, because it's one thing to like have it in theory, but then like when you actually see the fucking deposit like hit your
Yeah.
account, you're like, dude, it's like real, like because
Yeah.
I know how it feels like to be on the outside being like, this can't be fucking real, bro. Like these guys are lying, like this is bullshit, you know what I mean? But then
Yeah.
like you close somebody and then somebody, dude, like these are complete fucking strangers, right? Like you didn't know them,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
for sure. It was
They're on
through
a
the
fucking phone call with you. You're pitching them a few $1,000 product for a solution. And
yeah.
then like that's it, right? Like
Yeah.
that's crazy, right? So I mean, like, bro, I mean, like, I guess like how's your perspective like shift after like making your own dollar from like your own business, from your own service?
Dude, I remember like telling you, I was like, fuck, I'm quitting my fucking job. Like literally like that same week.
That was lit. That's
And we
lit.
were like, oh, like I mean, it was like, okay, like we want to build like some momentum and like just like different shit. But I think like being able to like see yourself in a different way. I feel like that's like, that was,
Mm,
that was huge, bro. Like that was huge of like being like saying like, okay, I can do this and like I can control like my like life of like how like is it that I'm gonna like make money, not necessarily just like depending on somebody to pay me like to pay me something.
mm-hmm.
I think that's what it gave me like that feeling of like that confidence just like kind of like told me like okay like yo like even if let's say like I didn't have a job I'd be fine. I think
Yes.
yeah
Control, confidence. Yeah, it's like I think that's where a lot of young men like I think that's what like we need. Like we need to know that like if everything goes to shit, the economy goes to shit, like you have $0 in the bank, right? Or let's say you even you're on your last like thread, you're on your last fucking thread, and like the needle's really pushing. You
yeah
have that confidence now where it's like, okay, if the pressure's on, you at least know what to do.
yeah
You know
yeah
what I mean? So like, yeah, I think that's good, bro. Like I think like more than anything, that's like the biggest like experience that you can hold on to for the rest of your life because it's like okay, I did it once and I can do it again. And then now it's just do that like times
Yeah.
1,000. And then
No,
yeah,
like
bro. I
straight
mean
up.
like the model's proven at this point, right? I know you made your first 1250 in the first 3 weeks, right? That's
Yeah.
cool. But
Yeah.
like I guess now like now that you see that the potential of it, like where's your head at now? Because like I want people to understand like a little bit of like where you're going and like what's kind of happened and unfolded since then. Because that kind of like sparked this whole situation that we're in now.
Yeah, yeah. No, like I don't know like how like long after that I was like really just like considering like quitting my perfect job, right? Like everybody like describes like my current situation as like, dude, like I had this perfect job with a perfect relationship with the CEO,
Mm,
like growing so fast, making like pretty good money. Um, and so the fact that I was even considering of like leaving, bro, that shit was just crazy to me. Cause I never even thought that I would be like leaving like this job. Cause of like how good it was like for me, to be honest, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Um, I think like I learned like the pain of change versus like pain of staying the same. And I think that's relative to like what you see yourself, like how you see yourself of like what you're capable of doing. And so like all of a sudden, just because like I felt like I was capable of doing more, like my pain of staying the same, like just like skyrocketed. And it was like literally like because like like I was able to like close those deals. And so like all of a sudden I just thought about like, okay, like I'm making like good money, like I'm working a good job, but like what if I could turn like whatever like I just did into something like way more than what I have right now. And I think that's like when it really like fucking that's when it really like kind of like okay, like made me like consider
Yeah.
just like dude, like it was like it was so tough, bro, because I didn't know how to like consider it. I talked to you about it. I was like, dude, like should I do it? Should I not? And even if I did do it, I didn't want to like burn bridges to like, like with like my current like, with my current like CEO.
Mm,
And then again, just like thinking about like who I wanted to become. And then we had one call and it was like talking about like conviction of like who is it that like I want to be? Who is it that I'm gonna allow myself to be? And like after thinking through that, I was like, okay, like the decision is clear, bro. Like I'm gonna try, like I'm gonna at least try to make something like this like work where it's like beyond like what I'm like making right now. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And like once I had that conviction, like the next day I literally had a conversation with like the CEO of like the current company that I work for. And then
Yep.
that was like I mean the CEO was like super dope. Like he was like super understanding. He was like, dude, like I get it, like you're young, you're hungry. And even like bro, even he said this, he's like, yeah, like if I was in the same position as you, I would do the same shit. Which is like, bro, like, like
Yep. Mm,
um yeah, like just putting yourself out there, like having like that confidence, I think there's nothing that could really beat that, especially at like such a young age. Like for me, like personally, like speaking, you know what I mean?
mm,
Um, and it somehow led to like him still wanting to continue to work with me, and even like wanting him to be a client of like my like marketing, like being like a marketing consultant. You know
yep.
what I mean? Uh, which is that's like a completely like different story of like maybe like if you actually like show up and like you give value, like you'll be able to like retain that value.
Mm, mm,
But yeah, like dude, like now like I'm like on track to pretty much like have time to scale
mm,
the DJ, like consulting business while still maintaining good relationships with my current company and
yeah.
still being involved in like the company in terms of like helping out with their marketing. So
Yeah.
like somehow it just translated to like being able to like create options for myself
Mm,
like gave me so much leverage, bro. I feel like that was like crazy leverage to just like, to basically
mm,
like have that conversation with them and say like, well, hey, like I could be doing my own thing. And then
yeah.
he's like, no, like I agree. Like you could be doing your own thing and I'm gonna respect that. And like instead, like he's like, oh, like, what if like you helped out still in a different way? You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess like a good question to even ask you now, bro. It's like, well, what do you want to do like moving forward? Like what's the vision? Like you kind of went through this like, crazy journey over the last like month, 2 months, right?
Yeah,
Things
yeah.
are like changing pretty fast. Like, you're seeing yourself in a different light, you know what I mean? You're on track to fucking quit your job in a month, a month today.
A month
Today.
today, yeah, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, bro, like in your head, like where's everything at and where do you want to see this go? So like next time like there is something for you to like look forward to.
Yeah. No, I think like I want to aim high. I want to aim as high as I can because I feel like I haven't been aiming high.
Hmm.
Uh, with me like just being like so like chill about it. I feel like I could be like one of the best marketing consultants like to ever live, bro. Like that would be my goal. You know what I mean? Like that would be like my goal of like saying like doesn't matter if it's DJ, doesn't matter if it's corporate, like like consumer packaged goods. It's like if I just learn, I just continue to learn, bro. Like I'll go out, like saying that like I've been a freaking goated ass like marketing like person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's I don't know like how I'm gonna grow my business and like like which direction and stuff like that, like all the little intricate details.
Hmm.
But I think is I just want to get like I just want to be like such a master at like like at marketing that
Yeah.
like I'm able to like provide value in like any way, shape, or form to like
Yeah.
anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be like crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Because I
So
enjoy doing it. I really enjoy like the
yeah, because
marketing.
like, bro, you're working from home. Like, you're still like technically able to do these things. Like, that's the cool
Yeah,
thing. Like, you work from home and like you can make a lot of money. And like now you're learning a bunch of other shit that like you would have never learned if you just stay at the job, right? Like,
straight up, straight up.
marketing, sales, fulfillment. Like now, eventually hiring, managing. Like,
Oh yeah,
so many things for you to go ahead and learn. And
yeah,
the vehicle, remember what we were talking about? Like
yeah. The
like you're
big,
going from like a Civic to now like we're getting into a NASCAR, you know what I mean? Like we're getting into something a little
yeah.
bit more nicer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess like I guess a concrete goal would be like 20K a month. Which is like, dude, like 2 months ago before like I met you, that's like crazy. It's like who the fuck is making 20K a month?
Hmm.
But now like that, like I'm in it, like I'm like learning and like I'm kind of like in the space of where people are like worrying about like 100K months. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
20K months are like super doable, and I feel like that would be a concrete goal by the end of 2025.
Dude, I think dude, you have what it takes, bro. Like you could definitely like smoke that. Like with what you know now, bro, dude, you like it was so with you kind of feathering the gas, right? Not fucking stomping all the way down on it, bro.
Yeah,
Like you already saw potential. You already made sales. You already like got the ball rolling. Like you're already building something. So
yeah, for sure, for sure.
so yeah, I'm excited, bro, because I wanted to I'm gonna make another check-in. I'm gonna have a part two of this fucking interview so that they could see you at like that 20K a month
I'm gonna
fucking
be making 20K a
professional.
month on our next interview.
100K a month, bro. Fuck that shit, bro. You're gonna go fucking
Oh
crazy.
shit, yeah.
Bro, you're gonna be pulling up
Yeah,
in a
sure.
Rari right next to your fucking CEO at the next event. You'd be like, yo, what's up, dude?
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. No, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Okay,
And yeah,
cool.
it's like it's a very attainable goal, bro. So
Let me ask you this. What would you say to somebody who's like on the outside or on the fence or who's looking at wanting to join like the gifted and wanting to like take the leap? What would you say
yeah.
to that person?
I like had a friend who's like doing pretty well too, and he says, don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Like straight up, like bro, like don't think too much. You're already not doing anything anyways. It's like
Hmm. Hmm.
why not try something that could potentially like make you like a lot of money? Um and also like I learned this like from Hermosi where he's saying like everybody like attributes the final step to like your overall success, but that's not how it works. It's kind of like building blocks that you have to like do like throughout your life. So it's like the worst case that this could happen, it's like it just gets you closer to like where you want to be at anyways. It's like even if it doesn't get you like what you're like looking for, it's like dude, like you're still a step ahead of like getting closer like to that goal. And like again, if you're like, bro, like the program, it's like it's proven, bro. It's like again, like it's like working out and like eating right every fucking day and like if you're actually doing it like and you're not getting jacked, it's like, dude,
Something's wrong.
yeah, something's wrong
Something's fucking
for
wrong.
sure. Yeah. So I think just like those two things, like don't get stuck in like analysis paralysis and like if you're worried of making the perfect decision, dude, the worst case this could happen is like it leads you closer to your goal. That's like literally the worst case of like what happens like with the decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I don't.
TJ's dope as fuck, bro. You should work with TJ, bro. That's what I would say.
Okay.
I mean, I had a good ass time working with you, so
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. I think yeah, you're right, bro. I think it's one thing for me to say it, but then it's always different for somebody else to like
yeah,
make the investment, take the risk, and then like keep going. But yeah, dude, I think your story is like somebody's gonna watch this and be like, ah, fuck, dude, Joseph's like a badass, you know?
I mean,
Okay,
sure, dude.
cool. Let me pause the recording on this and then we'll
Yeah.
yeah.